The Austronesian language ethnic group is the world's most widely spread, spanning from Africa's Madagascar in the west, crossing the Indian Ocean to Easter Island in the Pacific, starting from Taiwan in the north and traversing south to New Zealand. Taiwan's Austronesian language ethnic groups are considered the northernmost of all, and 16 indigenous peoples with a population up to 540,000 are included. They play a critical historical role in the cultural development of the Austronesian family. In order to preserve indigenous history and culture, and to promote the overall development of indigenous peoples, the Council of Indigenous Peoples was established in 1996. Since then, Taiwan has reached a new milestone in promoting indigenous affairs. Education is the foundation of ethnic culture. Through education, cultural legacies can be passed down. The Council of Indigenous Peoples has set up ethnic educational resource centers and classrooms throughout the country to connect schools with tribal culture. In the Ethnic Educational Resource Classroom, the teacher is preparing the loom for the next class. In the past, almost every woman in the tribe would know how to weave. But now, if we do not try to preserve this traditional craft, it may be lost forever. The Ethnic Educational Resource Classroom is the most important base for promoting ethnic education, and it's also one of the important educational policies of the Council of Indigenous Peoples. Tribal University utilizes tribal villages as the focal point and brings together a sense of tribal and ethnic identity while combining the traditional and the modern in the establishment of the indigenous knowledge system and the development of the indigenous education to foster tribal talent and create a lifelong learning educational environment in tribal villages. The tribal schools are also a crucial part of indigenous ethnic education, allowing students between 12 to 18 years of age to utilize summer and winter breaks, as well as regular weekends, to immerse fully in an ethnic language environment where they can learn farming techniques, hunting, prayer rituals, musical dance, and other aspects of tribal culture. The purpose of the tribal schools is to rediscover indigenous autonomy in education, to establish an indigenous education system, and cultivate a new generation of indigenous peoples who are well-versed in both traditional and modern knowledge, and who can in turn rediscover tribal livelihood and vitality. This will have a significant impact on the continuation of indigenous cultural heritage. According to a UNESCO report, all 16 of Taiwan's indigenous languages are listed as endangered languages, and the Council of Indigenous Peoples is actively working on the preservation of these endangered languages. Adhering to its mission of save your own ethnic language and teach your children their own tribe's language, the Council hopes that every indigenous family in both tribal villages and metropolitan areas will develop the habit of speaking their tribal language, both among adults and children, and preserve the tribal language this way. Tribal elders are the best language teachers. From them, one can learn the correct pronunciation and also find out a lot of valuable historical information. Language plays a very important role in passing down cultural heritage. Indigenous language certification exams include Taiwan's 16 indigenous languages and 42 dialects, and the certification can add points to school applications. More importantly, the exams promote the trend towards encouraging people to use their tribal languages and be aware of the need to save ethnic languages from disappearing. Taiwan Indigenous Peoples Culture Park at the intersection of Majia Township and Sandiman Township by the Iliao River. The park's main exhibition themes are the diverse lifestyles, architectural characteristics, and the arts and culture of Taiwan's indigenous peoples. Taiwan has the world's best preserved stone slab house settlement, and it now has been included by the Ministry of Culture as a part of the application to become a United Nations World Heritage Site. In order to reconstruct the tribal chief's home, which was damaged by typhoons, the park management sought reference from the precious manuscripts left by Chijiwa Suketaro, together with oral records from tribal elders, who reconstructed the stone slab houses with a traditional architectural team formed by tribal members. From artifact exhibitions to digital archives, from traditional music dance performances to exhibitions abroad, we plan to adopt a big centers leading small centers approach, which combines the country's 28 indigenous cultural centers and allows indigenous culture to be seen through various means and travel to every single corner of Taiwan. Indigenous peoples do not have written text. Through the establishment of the Indigenous Archives, traditional culture can be compiled, translated, researched, published, archived, and promoted. The traditional knowledge, wisdom, ballads, and legends can thus be permanently preserved. In 2005, Asia's first indigenous television station was founded. Taiwan's indigenous people finally have a media platform for their own voice. This is the site of the biennial Pastai of the Sasiat, the ritual to the short people. The report team of Taiwan Indigenous Television will cover the festival from the beginning of preparations through to the festival's end. Through the original production and broadcast of various types of programs by Taiwan Indigenous Television, the public will become better informed and have a correct understanding and respect for indigenous culture. In 2012, the International Austronesian Conference was held at the National Library, featuring the themes of tidal waves, composition, resonance. The President of the Republic of China showed strong support by attending the conference. Austronesians are one of the most important ethnic groups in today's global village. Taiwan, as an Austronesian cultural center, should take on the responsibility of Austronesian exchanges between countries, share our experiences, and enhance the visibility of Austronesian culture in the international arena. Academic Exchange Symposium for Taiwan Indigenous Peoples and Ethnic Minorities from mainland China, and other cultural, tourism, and industry exchange visits open up positive cross-strait interactions. In addition, we should bring Taiwan indigenous peoples' culture to the world, learning indigenous wisdom and experience from different countries, and actively cultivating the ability and vision of Taiwan indigenous peoples to participate in international affairs of indigenous people.